You look at this title and you realize that a lot's changed in the IT landscape when we have a nugget on desktop apps. I mean, go back 12 years ago and there was nothing but a desktop app when it comes to Windows. But these days, we could be dealing with cloud-based applications, and the big distinction that I want to make for you in this course is between desktop apps and Windows Store full-screen apps. We'll have a nugget on the Windows Store, of course. Our focus here, desktop apps. This distinction between applications, by the way, becomes very obvious when you look at one of the best-selling applications of all time, Microsoft Office these days. Notice when I log into the Office website, I can quickly begin using any of these applications in an online version. Contrast this to the ability to install a local desktop copy of Office. Now, one of our emphases here with desktop apps is how you would deploy them. Certainly, one of the options that we see is to do a download from the internet like this, and this is so popular today for the installation of our desktop app. Real quickly, let's launch PowerPoint online just to see how cool this would be. And look at this. I mean, it looks, feels just like we're in PowerPoint. I can even access my applications or previous files from Dropbox integrated right in. So a very, very slick option these days are the cloud-based apps. But like I said, our emphasis will be on the desktop, specifically their deployment. We see one way to do it, and that's an internet-based download. Now remember, you might be able with a standard user account to do that download of the application, but you require administrative privileges inside of Windows 10 to actually do the interactive desktop installation of that application. So keep that in mind. With user account control settings, you could be prompted to provide administrator credentials, and that's cool. So that would allow you to begin the installation as a standard user and then provide your administrative credentials in order to finish it. Now, it used to be that our Windows installation files were exes or .exe files, but then Microsoft really started pushing an installation package. This is a file that ends with an MSI extension. These give us more flexibility. For instance, we can deploy these in an automated fashion, and you can even use a command line tool called MSI exec.exe, ironically enough. We'll do a /?. The MSI exec command prompt tool allows you to do installations of these files locally on your system. The advantage here is that you could do silent installs. You can do installs of an application that require absolutely no end user interaction, and then magically the application is there for them on the desktop. Yet another cool way that you could deploy applications would be using group policy. Now, to do this, you would be in an Active Directory enterprise domain environment, and you would go into that group policy editor and you would go to Computer Configuration Software Settings. When you do this, you have two options. You can assign apps to users, or you can publish apps to users. What in the world's the difference? When you assign an app to a user, that application is automatically installed when that user logs in to their Windows 10 desktop through the domain. When you publish an application to the user, it is available for them to install as an option in the Programs applet of Control Panel. Now, it's certainly nice that we have those options through group policy linked to Active Directory, but unfortunately, with the group policy approach, we don't have scheduling capabilities, there's no reporting functions. So for even more sophisticated desktop application deployments, you might turn to something like the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit. This is a free download from TechNet, and this is going to offer you much more advanced functionality. And then finally, for the most sophisticated option when it comes to deploying applications out to the desktop, we would employ the use of System Center Configuration Manager. Of course, the issue with System Center Configuration Manager would be you actually having to purchase it and the fact that your staff needs to be well trained in this extremely complex application. Once your application is installed, no matter how you chose to deploy it, we know that we can manipulate that application using the Programs and Features applet of Control Panel. For instance, one of the things that we might do is uninstall a particular application. I come in here and there's always something that I want to uninstall. It's so funny. So for instance, there's this Cloudberry Explorer for Amazon S3 that I no longer need. Let me select that and I can go to uninstall or change that application, and here I'm going to uninstall that application and all of its components. Notice I was just brought to a web page. They want to collect some feedback from me, and I ignore that in this case, and I say okay to the success dialog box. Sometimes, of course, we might have to restart our system in order for the uninstall to completely take place. Now, something I'd like to point out to you regarding uninstallation using this applet in Control Panel, this would be your second choice to an uninstaller that ships with the application. Now, on that application, there was no uninstaller, so I am forced into this program inside of Windows 10, but understand that we always want to look for the uninstaller that shipped with the application first, as that will most likely do a better job of cleaning up the app fully. And just a quick reminder that this is where we would go to turn Windows features on or off. So we have seen this earlier in the course, for instance, when we went in and turned on Hyper-V capabilities. So in this nugget, we explored the desktop application, and really it was about how we can deploy desktop applications. We know there are many options today to do this efficiently and effectively, because think about it, visiting each desktop and doing a manual interactive installation for large enterprises just really isn't going to be an option. I hope you found this nugget informative, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.